Let me go to Bob Davidson next for his workshop tips and tricks. Bob, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. We'll get right into it here. Welcome to Workshop Tips and Tricks. And my usual introduction about my background. I won't bore you anymore. Tonight's episode is we can all use an extra hand tool. These are toolbox finds of things that I use quite often, and I'll give you just a little bit of an introduction on this. I got big hands, and which just means I wear big gloves, by the way. And I also have essential tremors, so I shake, which can be a problem when you're modeling an HO scale. So a lot of these you're going to see tonight are things that I found that just help me along and help me keep things from, knocking into each other. So first thing, though, I wanted to kind of back up to last week where we were talking about rulers. I've just started doing some 3D printing and laser cutting and stuff like that, and decided it was time for me to get a digital caliper so I could really do some fine measuring. This one here, I got this on Amazon. It's under 30 bucks. It was 26 bucks. It was very highly rated. I did a bunch of research, and this was rated by several maker sites and modeling sites as the best buy. So it's the Nico stainless steel digital caliper. And what's nice is it does millimeters, inches, or fractions, which is kind of cool. Comes with a spare battery. And as I say, it got very high reviews, 27 bucks. So anyway, these are some, just forceps or tweezers. The one on the left, a lot of these I have been, every time I go to the dentist, I ask him if he's got stuff he's getting rid of. The one on the far left I got at my dentist shop. The other two were just stuff that I've had. The three on the right, those are ceramic tipped, and as you can see, those are kind of backwards. You squeeze them to open them, and then they hold on to things when you let go. I find these really helpful, and they're really inexpensive. These $12 for the set of three. This is up on Amazon. They're ceramic tipped, so you can use them for soldering, and you can also, they're non-magnetic as it says. So these are, they're pinching coils, but which I have no idea, but they work out great. They really are a great little find that I got on Amazon. So, so that's kind of cool. Hemostats, again, these lock, medical supplies. You can find these all over. I would doubt that your doctors will give you any of them, but they're very inexpensive up on the web. The one on the right is my favorite one. It's the lightest one of all, and that comes from a fly fishing tie kit. I used to do fly fishing, and when I was making my own flies, that was part of the kit that I got. So I'm sure you could find it even at a sporting goods shop or at Cabela's or something like that. Those are just, but they're really handy. You can see there's straight ones and curved ones and all different sizes, and they come in all different lengths. So they're really handy when you have to get into something, even on the layout too, not just for model building. The helping hands, when I'm doing soldering or anything like that, this is just a plain one. I've had this for probably 35 years now. They come with and without the magnifying glass. They're not very expensive. You used to be able to get them at Radio Shack, but you can find them most anywhere. If you're really fancy, there's a bunch of fancy ones out there on the web. This is one that's up. I took the picture off of Amazon. So again, just really helpful to have around to help you get into spaces. These are just some needle nose pliers, longer ones. Again, these are larger units that I use to get into areas, and I use these primarily when I'm working on the layout itself. The bottom one is a compound one. That's actually the one I use. I have a 1961 scooter, a Harley Davidson scooter, and I use that to make carburetor adjustments. But it's just really great to reach into tight areas. A couple other little specialty pliers that I have. We all have cutters and rail cutters and stuff like that. The upper one here, this is from Tractor Supply Company. If you have Tractor Supply, they've got a really neat line and they're very inexpensive. And this is a true flush cutter. It basically cuts, leaves nothing there. So, and it's under 10 bucks. These curved things, I just picked this up at a Lowe's and they've proven to be very handy already on a couple of projects. Alligator forceps, again, really handy. I call them platypus, but you can see it's just like a little clamp, but only the very end of the clamp body opens up. Really good to get into tight spaces. Here's one that I had from an exhibit project that I brought home that I use at home. And you can see this is 18 inches long. So I can use this to get way back into stuff, to pick something up or if something falls over. It's just a real, and these are available and they're all called alligator forceps. So you should look for those. We all have screwdrivers. I seem to keep going back and forth to this $2 Harbor Freight 4-in-1 screwdriver all the time. And this is probably the best thing I've ever bought at Harbor Freight, which is just a little 6-piece miniature screwdriver set. These are really, I don't know, I'll be honest, these are Craftsman that I got back at Sears probably 30 years ago, 25 years ago. They're just really, stubby side drive screwdrivers. See if you can find these because they really bailed me out sometimes when I've had to get into a tight spot. Mini pry bars are great. You can find them around. Pounce wheels are great for transferring patterns. They're typically, you can get them at the fabric stores or at Hobby Lobby or something like that. 12-inch brass bar clamps. I bought these when I was doing the subway construction. These are just great, fully adjustable. Really nice to use and convenient when you're doing larger pieces. You want to have a right angle driver if you're trying to get in, adding in any structure underneath your layout or something like that. This is one that I found again at the Lowe's. It's a flex shaft as well as being a right angle driver. You can remove the handle. And if you're like me and you're kind of dimensionally challenged, having a magnetic pickup tool is very important when you're dropping little things, because I have to pull out the floor pads and all that if I'm going to get down and try to pick something up. So spring-loaded center punch, if you get them, these are great just for marking. If again, to be accurate in drilling holes. There's all different styles and sizes. This is one where you can adjust the force of the punch. So I do recommend that. And then step drills. These are great for drilling into plastic or into light metals. They're not that great for wood because the steps are so shallow. But instead of buying a whole kit of hole saws or something like that, these are very inexpensive alternatives. So I would recommend that you find them if you ever need to put some holes into boxes or anything like that. Mini hacksaw is great. I don't think I have a full-size hacksaw anymore. I just use this down in my workshop. And then the Zona saw, which I got from Micromart, I really like this. It just helps out a lot. It's not as big as some of the larger Japanese saws. You can use this. I use this blade, this third blade, as a flush cut blade, so it works out very nice. So those are just some of the tools. The tool of the week, however, is this little soldering iron kit. I have a whole Weller station that I have on the workbench, but when I was having to go under the layout and do some soldering work, I found this about a year ago. As you see, it's under 25 bucks. You get the accessories, which are worthless, frankly. But this unit really, it heats up in 15 seconds. It's up to temperature. It has adjustable temperature, which is great. And it comes with the tip set that you see there. And I've used it for everything, soldering rail, and it's just so small that I'm able to bring it underneath the layout and just really really been a real time saver and just so I don't have to drag over the big unit. So tonight's neat website is garrettwade.com, and we'll go to that. And here you can see Garrett Wade. They make all different kinds of tools, but what I'll point you to is their woodworking tools, and they have in their workshop, they have all different kinds of things, crafting tools, model making tools. They're not the cheapest in the world, but here's some of these precise locking tools that we were just talking about. So you should check them out. It's garrettwade.com, and just some fantastic stuff. Here's some of those clamps, those bar clamps, and I did not buy them from these guys, but it's just good to go through. A lot of these sites, honestly, I find stuff that looks interesting on these sites, and then I go and search for them where I can find them cheaper. So I would suggest, oh, wait a minute, we're going to get 15% off. How do you like that? Anyway, so that's Garrett Wade. That's this week's website of the week. We'll come back here. In 2 weeks, I won't be here next week, but in 2 weeks, we're going to look at useful and small power tools that I use around the shop. So if there's any questions, be happy to answer them, or I can turn it back over to you, Jim.
Does anybody have any questions for Bob? Well, let me tell you something about Bob that you may not know, you may know. Bob is the chairman of our scholarship committee. Bob is the one, for good or bad, you can blame for all of the failures and mistakes and errors and good things that are going on right now for our scholarship, because he's agreed to be the chairman of it. And he brings a tremendous amount of expertise with him. And Bob, what you're doing is just fantastic. I can't thank you enough for taking this chore on and leading us the way that you are.
Well, it's been a pleasure doing it, and as we've discussed, if we don't do it, who's going to? And I just can't stand to see our hobby. I'm also a motorcyclist, and we go through the same thing. I'm a Harley rider, and we're aging out. We need to get younger kids involved. We need to keep regenerating our hobby, and hopefully this is going to help do it.
Well, we sure hope so. And the way the community of modelers is supporting us right now, I couldn't be more pleased. And a lot of it has to go to the leadership that you're providing and the other members of the committee. So thank you so much.
Thank you.